your next best business is to be in a relationship or to marry someone that already has what you don't have. The top priority for a relationship in Ghana is financial stability. That they use their beauty, they use their looks, they use their figure as a way to survive. So he's going to pay your rent. He's going to buy you a car. He's going to give you money, say, go out, have fun with your girl. They don't even care about the love stuff. Love grows later. If you choose to marry for love, then maybe you're going to be in poverty. People are forced to pick between one of the two, the heartfelt love or the transaction of what the relationship is. Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, today's video, I want to talk about a little phenomenon that I was going to say that I've been seeing, but honestly speaking, I've been seeing it for a while. It has been around for a while. It's definitely not new. But I would say it's becoming a lot more evident, especially during this busy season, this Christmas holiday season. So I want to talk about the whole getting into a relationship, right, for survival. Because for a lot of people, a lot of women, that is exactly what is happening. And I'm not saying, I always have to put this disclaimer in, I'm not saying that this doesn't happen across the world, but it is very, very evident here in Ghana, especially. I live in Ghana, I'm in Ghana right now, and so that's what I'm speaking about, right? It's very, very evident that a lot of people now are marrying or going into relationships just as a way to survive. The economy in Ghana right now is so difficult for so many people that honestly, if you cannot get a business off the ground or if you cannot get some income going, your next best business is to be in a relationship or to marry someone that already has what you don't have. And that is what we are seeing a lot of the time. Now, this is quite a taboo subject to talk about because I guess it happens, but it's an unsaid thing. It's one of these unsaid things that Ghanaians have. Ghanaians definitely have this whole thing where they don't talk about a lot of things that happen, right? A lot of things in Ghana are swept under the carpet. And once you've been in the culture for a while, you'll see it happen. I would say that this particular holiday season, I've seen it. We all see it, right? A lot of the time we don't talk about what happens, but we all see it, right? You see a couple, they don't look, aesthetically, it doesn't look right? You've got this beautiful woman. She's got this amazing hourglass figure. She's dressed really, really well. And then she's with this guy and he's got some massive belly. He's 20 years older than, we all know what's going on, right? We know what the deal is. And that's not to say that there's not love involved. That's not to say that. But there is definitely, for the most part, there's usually something, something going on a bit. But I understand it. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I would say that a lot of relationships in Ghana are very, very transactional. People are going into them for survival rather than anything else. Whereas I feel like in the West, a lot of the times when we go into relationships, we get married, right? We're looking at love first. We're looking at how this person makes me feel. I love the way he looks. I love the way he treats me. We're going to have babies that are going to look absolutely beautiful if we make a baby together. We look at those we look at those things, right? And those are our priorities that we look at when we're going into relationships, about feelings, about love, ultimately. Whereas in Ghana, that is not how relationships tend to necessarily work, right? I'm not saying that love is not involved in Ghanaian relationships. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that love is further down the list. The top priority for a relationship in Ghana is financial stability. That is what most people will look for, right? Because, like I said, the economy in Ghana is hard here right now. There is no safety net in Ghana if things don't go well for you financially, okay? There is no one to help you. Whereas in the West, you can marry for love, or the two of you don't have money. There's some type of government assistance. They'll put you in a house. You can get some type of benefit. There are things that can happen that, it'll be hard for you to end up on the streets in the West, in the UK specifically, right? It's going to be hard for you to end up on the streets, even if you make a lot of bad decisions, right? In Ghana, you can be one job away from being on the streets. It can happen, right? Apart from, extended family can help you to an extent, we get all that. But it can happen where people end up on the streets very, very quickly. People's financial situations can plummet very quickly because there is no there's no safety net for most people here. And so you have to think about ways to survive. And for a lot of women, they use their beauty, they use their looks, they use their figure as a way to survive. That's what it is. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing if that works for you. If you're a man and that's the kind of woman that you pick because that's what you want, you want this amazing trophy wife, then hey, that's great. That's what you get. I'm not judging that and saying it's wrong, because it works for you, it works for you. I'm not the judge of that. But what I'm saying is that is pretty much what happens. That is how people are financially bettering themselves. That's how people are getting a better financial footing, because they are marrying up, so to speak, right? Now, the danger with that is that if things go wrong, because a lot of the time, some of these relationships can be quite unbalanced, right? Where the woman has come in with her beauty, her looks and all of that stuff. Now you have this wealthy man. You know, like, to be a wealthy man, you have access to a lot of things, right? And I'm not saying every wealthy man does it, but for a lot of the time, if a man is wealthy, he has options, right? Although you're there, you're his number one, you're his main, he's going to have side chicks, he's going to have girlfriends, he's going to have these things, right? You have to know what you're buying into. But if the relationship breaks down, you have to make sure that you as a woman have something that you're going to fall back on. And it cannot just be your looks, because let's be honest, your looks will fade. Your figure is not going to be like that forever. You have children, things change, all of that good stuff, right? So that cannot be your only reliance. And it's really actually quite scary that we are headed into a generation where that is what women think is their asset. They believe that their body, their looks is the assets that they have and they're bringing into a relationship. When they say, oh, what do you bring to the table? That's what not most women, that's what some women will bring to the table and say that's what they have to share, that's what they have to offer. And that's not a good thing, because if the relationship breaks down, what do you have? And I know this is a bad thing, but in the West, okay, if a relationship breaks down, usually the man will be the one to leave. In Ghana, like, it's his house. He will throw you out. Where are you going to go? You know, are you going back to your father's house? Are you going to go stay with friends? How long can you stay with friends for? You have to have something going on for yourself. Like, we as women, we need to be a bit smarter when it comes to these things. We need to have a business on the side. If you're marrying for money, you're marrying into all of that, that's great. Wonderful. I'm happy for you. God bless you. Wonderful, right? I'm not knocking it. But make sure you're smart enough to also set something up for yourself so that you're never going to be left stranded, because it can happen. Anything can happen. And I'm not saying that he's going to leave you. It doesn't mean that. Anything can happen. He passes away. Then what happens? Maybe you don't have access to his money. Now what are you going to do? Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas in the West, we have certain things that will support you. You know what I'm saying? The government, if your relationship breaks down, you're entitled to child support, you're entitled to spousal support. There are systems in place that will work to help support you, right? Whereas in Ghana, you don't necessarily have that. In Ghana, I mean, I'm not saying the laws are not there, but it's like, how long is it going to take? The fighting that you're going to fight, are you going to be okay during that time? Like, it's a longer process. It's not automatic. And so you have to make sure that you're setting yourself up in the right way. So if you're just going to marry because the man has money, then you could find yourself in a situation that it's going to be very difficult for you, where you're going to have to start over. Now you're starting over at a place where maybe you don't have that shape anymore. Maybe your looks are not that way. Nobody cares for your looks anymore. You know how the world is so superficial. So you have to be smart about certain things. And like I said, I'm not saying transactional relationships are bad, but you have to know what your end of that bargain looks like as well. You have to be able to look after yourself. Now in Ghana, right, when a woman leaves her father's house, right, she goes and she takes a husband and she marries, right? Your husband has to be able to provide for you. So when your family is giving you away to this man who you're now going to marry, he's giving you to a family, for the most part, that is going to be able to look after you. He's not going to give you to a family who's going to have less than, because he knows what that is going to mean for you. So for the most part, he's going to marry you off well. So a lot of marriages that happen in Ghana, love is not up here. Love is further down. It's about what the man can provide for you. It's about financial stability. Most people that get married are marrying with some type of financial stability on the cards for them, because they know what Ghana is going to be like, what life is going to be like if things don't go well for you. So that's what happens. So your family is going to marry you into some type of wealth or some type of situation that's going to afford you a certain type of luxury, okay? Now, women are also wising up to this by themselves as well. They know that, listen, Ghana is hard. I need somebody who can be able to buy me this. And let me also just say, right, when it comes to relationships, you have to understand how Ghanaian relationships are, right? The way that a lot of Ghanaian men show love is not going to be by the feels, right? It's not going to be through his communication, the way he talks to you. You know, his love language is not necessarily going to be that. Sometimes his love language is the things that he can buy for you. So he's going to pay your rent. He's going to buy you a car. He's going to give you money, say, go out, have fun with your girls. He's going to do those things. Those are his expressions of love. That's how it works. And so if you're going to get into a relationship with a Ghanaian man, you have to understand that that's probably what it's going to be. That's what it's going to look like. It's not necessarily going to be like, oh my gosh, when you go to sleep at night, oh, he makes me feel so good. He said this, he said that. You maybe not get those feelings because that's not how it is here. Right? A lot of the time it is transactional. And sometimes that too is what women want. They don't even care about the love stuff. Love grows later. Love is a luxury that a lot of people can't afford in Ghana. Love grows later. Love, if you ask if you go and do a survey, right, and ask couples who have been married, like older generation couples who have been married for many, many years, ask them what love is. They're not going to give you the definition of love that we see in the UK. Really, love is what you choose to buy into. For some people, they'll say that if my man can buy me a car, if he can pay my rent for me, if he can pay my bills, he can make me feel like I don't have those financial burdens. That is love to one person, and that's not wrong. Love to a lot of us in the UK is how we feel. It's about feelings. And so we marry in different ways. It really is about what we buy into. And we need to understand the difference when we're going into some of these relationships. So you who's coming from the West and coming to find your Ghanaian prince, your Ghanaian king, right? You're not necessarily going to be able to get exactly what you want in the way that you want with a Ghanaian man. You may not get all those feels. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but you may not get that. His love language is going to be different to what you are maybe used to. And so you have to bear that in mind, right? When we get married in the West, it's usually two people who make their decisions for their relationship. You choose to marry this person because you love him. You want certain things from him, how he makes you feel. You're going to have amazing looking babies. That's how you love. In Ghana, we're not going to do that. It's two families who are marrying these two people together because they're doing it because of what potentially can happen. The wealth that can be built between the two, how they are aligned in that way, right? It's a marriage of families and not just two individuals. The same way if you're going to divorce, it's going to have to be a family decision over two people who are in the West who want to divorce, who just decide to wake up, get papers, sign them, and they're divorced. It works completely different, so you have to be able to understand that, okay? Now, again, I'll say that a transactional marriage is not necessarily a bad one. It's just how you look at it and the angle that you're looking at it from. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But as I said, set yourself up so it works for you, okay? So now if you're going to marry this Ghanaian man, you know that Ghanaian men expect things in a certain way. So if you're going to be a Ghanaian wife, especially if he doesn't have the level of money that you want, right? Then know that you're going to be the type of wife that you have to cook, you have to clean, you have to do it. You're not going to have necessarily people around you that are going to do those things for you. Now, if you marry a man with money, he's probably going to be able to provide you those things. He's going to provide you someone who's going to do all the cooking. You just have to look glam. You have to look like his trophy wife. He's got to be able to take you out places, be amongst his business associates and stuff like that, because you are his prize almost in some ways, right? I say that with a pinch of salt. Right, that's what it is. So you have to understand. So some women, that's what they look for, that's what they want, and that's great. It works for you, wonderful, right? But that's not always how it works here. Now, if we're talking about the average Ghanaian walking down the street, they are also looking for a man who can provide for them, a man who's going to give them some kind of stability, some type of security. They want a man who owns a house. Nobody wants to be going from one family home to another family home. You don't have anything. You're scraping pennies together. Between you can't even buy a loaf of bread to eat for dinner. Like, nobody wants to be in that position. Now, there are a few people that will choose to marry for love in Ghana, and I'm not saying that doesn't exist. It does happen. But then sometimes, you choose to marry for love, then maybe you're going to be in poverty. I'm not saying that's all the time, but it's quite difficult to find a couple that has wealth and has genuine love for each other. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, because there are some couples that I know that do have money and do genuinely love each other, right? I do know some people like that. But a lot of the time, people are forced to pick between one of the two, the heartfelt love or the transaction of what the relationship is. And right now, like I said, it's very evident, and it's out there during this season. We see it. There's a lot of big boys that women want to get, you know, they want to get access to. But that comes with its own thing. You can read between the lines, you know, that's not a straightforward relationship. But, you know, it's funny because today I saw something on Instagram, and this girl, you know, she's a diaspora and she'd flown into the country. She's doing her thing here. She's having a holiday here, right? And her thing was that she said that whoever said Ghanaian men are stingy doesn't know what they're talking about, because it's not the Ghanaian men who are in Ghana that's stingy. Because listen, there are levels to Ghanaian men here, right? There's some of them that have money. They could just give you $10,000. Like, I know people that it's happened to, just give you $10,000 like this and say, oh, this is for you, go enjoy yourself or whatever, right? It happens. Now, does that happen in the UK? I've never seen it. I don't know. But maybe I've never been in a position where I've been in a circle where I can see things like that happening. I don't know. But it happens here. Like, life here is so different. And definitely, you know, someone said in December, Ghana is not a real place. It definitely isn't a real place. It's not a standard day-to-day living. So if you're looking for that type of man, you're coming to Ghana in December, you're looking for that type of man, that may not be the right relationship for you, because in Ghana, everybody lives a different type of lifestyle. Life is just, you know, life is just very, very different in that space. And so you have to understand what you're getting into. So like I say, relationships here are very different. So love is a luxury in Ghana and not necessarily going to be an automatic standard. So you have to know what you're walking into if you're coming here to look for your king. Okay, so just bear that in mind. For a lot of people, as I said, love grows later. So love, people will see, like, they'll marry for the stability of what that relationship can bring them, but love develops later. And that's, again, it's not a bad thing. I feel like there are still a lot of marriages that happen in Ghana that are very much about matchmaking, right? Family marrying you off. You don't get necessarily to choose exactly what you want, but the family knows the reason why they do that, right? So love develops later on. So 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you'll see a love grow in a different type of way to the love that we sometimes expect love to be. Like I said, love is a feeling, it's how you feel. Today you feel in love, tomorrow you don't feel in love. That is not the love that will make a marriage necessarily last. But for a lot of people, they marry for the stability and love grows later, but it's a healthier type of love. It can sometimes develop into a stronger type of love. But if you are going to a relationship, those types of relationships, make sure that you have something for yourself. I always say to everybody, whether you're the man or the woman, have something going for yourself, because you never know what can happen in a relationship. If it breaks down, make sure you have something so that you can fall back on something here. Don't let it be one of these situations where you married for love, the relationship breaks down, now you have nothing, now you have to go back to the West. You don't even want to go back to the West. You want to be in Ghana. You have to have something going for yourself. So those are just some things to think about. But it's definitely an interesting time here. Ghana opens up your eyes to a lot of things. Yeah, it's just interesting. You know, not everything I can say on camera sometimes, you know, there's some things you have to hold close to your chest. You can't say everything on camera, you know, that's just how it is here. But anyway, let me know what you think. As I said, you know, there are some relationships in Ghana that are absolutely beautiful. People don't necessarily have to choose between the transaction and the love. Some people get to have the best of both worlds, and that's lovely. If that's you, more power to you. I love that for you. That's amazing. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but not everybody has access to that. Most people have to choose one or the other. But let me know what you think about. Let me know if you have an amazing love story, if it worked out for you. Let me know if things didn't go well for you, how you were able to survive that, how you were able to still stay in the country if you were the woman and that's what happened. Let me know how it all worked out for you. I'd love to hear your stories, okay? I'm going to leave the video right there. Okay, if you're thinking about moving to Ghana and you would like to do a one-to-one consultation with me, send me an email to dela@moretodela.com. Also, if you are looking for a place to land, a nice soft landing on your move to Ghana, I have 2 one-bedroom apartments that are available for rent, long stay and short stay. Again, send me an email and we can arrange something from there. Also, my Fafa by Dela whipped shea butter is available for purchase. I've just made a whole massive batch, a new batch. My other one was sold out, so I made a whole new batch. They are available for sale too. You can reach out to me. I have some here and I have some also in the States. So let me know and we can sort it out from there. Okay, so that's the end. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment and share this video. Until next time, I am out. Nati Fafa.